I'm 75 years old, been black in America all those years. And I need to tell you something about anger that nobody in our community talks about enough. We were raised to swallow it, to smile when we wanted to scream, to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am, while our insides burned. They told us it was about survival, and maybe it was back then. But I swallowed my anger for 60 years, and it nearly killed me. Not all at once. Slowly. From the inside out. My name is Jean Williams. I'm 75 years old. 3 months ago, I had a stroke. Not a big one, thank the Lord, but big enough. I was sitting in my kitchen, same kitchen I've had for 42 years, when my right side just stopped working. My granddaughter found me on the floor, my face twisted up, trying to say her name, but nothing coming out right. You know what the doctor told me in the hospital? After all the tests and scans and poking and prodding? He said, "Mrs. Williams, your blood pressure has been dangerously high for years. The stress on your body, it's like you've been in fight or flight mode for decades. Fight or flight. For decades. That was 1965. I'm 75 now. That's 60 years of swallowing. Let me take you back, because you need to understand how this starts. How survival turns into a prison. I was born in 1950 in Birmingham, Alabama. Grew up right there during everything, the marches, the bombings, the dogs, and fire hoses. My mama and daddy, they were careful people, cautious. They'd survived Jim Crow by knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. Mostly quiet. They taught us kids the same. Keep your head down. Don't make trouble. Smile and move on. They can't hurt you if you don't give them a reason. I learned to swallow my anger before I even had words for what anger was. When I was 7, a white boy pushed me off the sidewalk into the mud, called me a name I won't repeat. His mama laughed. My mama grabbed my hand and kept walking. I wanted to push him back. I wanted to scream. Mama's grip on my hand told me everything I needed to know. Swallow it, baby. Swallow it down. When I was 12, we tried to go to the white library. The librarian, this thin white woman with glasses on a chain, she looked at us like we were dirt. Told us we needed to go to the colored library across town. My daddy, he just nodded. Yes, ma'am. Took off his hat. Smiled. We walked out. In the car, I could see his jaw working. Could see Mama's hands shaking in her lap. But nobody said nothing. We just drove to the colored library, smaller and older, half the books damaged or outdated. And we acted like it was fine. I learned early, your anger don't matter. Your rage don't change nothing. It just gets you hurt or worse. So you smile. You swallow. You survive. By the time I was 23, in 1973, I'd been swallowing for so long I didn't even taste it no more. I was working as a secretary at a downtown firm, one of the first black women they hired after integration. You know what that was like? Being the only one? Having to be twice as good, twice as quiet, twice as pleasant? I had a supervisor, Mr. Patterson. White man, about 50. Every single day he'd make these little comments. Well, Jean, that's pretty good for you people. You're so articulate. Where'd you really learn to type like that? And the touching. Oh Lord, the touching. Hand on my shoulder. Hand on my back. Standing too close. I smiled. Every single time. Thank you, Mr. Patterson. You're too kind, Mr. Patterson. And I'd go to the bathroom and lock myself in a stall and shake. Just shake with all that anger I couldn't let out. My best friend from church, Carolyn, she worked at the hospital. Same thing. Different white folks, same treatment. We'd meet for lunch on Fridays and talk about it in whispers, looking around to make sure nobody heard. We'd laugh sometimes, that bitter laugh that ain't really laughing. And then we'd go back to work and smile some more. Girl, you gotta let it go, Carolyn would say. Can't let them see they getting to you. So I didn't. I swallowed it. All of it. I got married in 1975 to Robert Williams. Good man. Worked at the steel plant. Deacon at our church. We had our daughter, Keisha, in 1977. Beautiful baby girl. And I swore I was going to raise her different. I was going to teach her to speak up. To not take nothing from nobody. But you know what happened? The first time she got in trouble at school, She was 8 years old, talked back to her teacher who'd said something ignorant about black people. I punished her, sent her to her room, told her she needed to learn respect. Robert looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Jean, that teacher was wrong. I know she was wrong. I snapped at him. But Keisha can't afford to be right. You understand me? She can't afford it. He didn't say nothing else, just shook his head and walked out. I went upstairs and apologized to Keisha. Tried to explain. Tried to tell her about survival and being careful and how the world was. She looked at me with these big eyes and said, "So I'm supposed to let people be mean to me?" No, baby. You gotta be smart about it. Even saying it, I felt something in my chest tighten, like a fist closing around my heart. But I kept swallowing, because that's what you do. That's what we were taught. When my sister died, breast cancer, only 43 years old, couldn't afford treatment because her job didn't give her proper insurance, and I sat in that funeral, looking at her body, knowing she'd worked herself to death trying to be respectable, trying to prove she deserved to be treated like a human being. I sat there in my black dress and my church hat, and I smiled at people offering condolences. She's at peace now. The Lord knows best. We'll be all right. Swallowed it all. Every bit of rage. Every scream. Every curse word I wanted to shout at a God who let my sister work 3 jobs and still die without dignity. My body started keeping score around my mid-50s. That's when the headaches started. Migraines that would put me in bed for days. My doctor said it was stress. Gave me pills. I took them and kept smiling. Then the high blood pressure. More pills. Then the weight. I gained 60 pounds in 5 years. Eating my feelings since I couldn't express them. Then the insomnia. Lying awake at 3 in the morning, jaw clenched so tight I'd wake up with my teeth aching. My body was screaming what my mouth wouldn't say. When I turned 65, I retired. I thought maybe then, maybe with no more Mr. Patterson types, no more corporate racism, no more code switching and swallowing, maybe I'd feel better. I didn't, because the anger was still there. 60 years of it, packed down tight in my chest, my shoulders, my gut. It didn't have nowhere to go. It just sat there, festering, rotting me from the inside. I started snapping at Robert over little things. The way he chewed, how he left his shoes by the door. I'd go from zero to rage over nothing, and I couldn't understand why. Poor man would just look at me, confused, hurt. Jean, what's wrong? Talk to me. But I couldn't talk to him, because I didn't even know what I was angry about no more. Everything. Nothing. 60 years of everything I never said. Here's the part that haunts me. The part one can barely say out loud. It was a Sunday morning, March 2023. I was getting ready for church, ironing my dress, fixing my hair. Robert was in the living room watching the news, and they were showing something about another black man killed by police. Another one. Another hashtag. Another round of protests and people saying we were overreacting. I heard Robert say something to the TV. Just a quiet comment. Lord have mercy. And something in me snapped. I walked into that living room and I screamed at him. I mean screamed. About how mercy wasn't going to fix nothing. About how we've been praying and being peaceful and swallowing our anger for 100 years, and what did it get us? More death. More hashtags. More Lord have mercy while they kept killing us. I screamed about Mr. Patterson. About that librarian when I was 12. About my sister. About Keisha's teacher. About every single time I'd smiled when I wanted to rage. About 60 years of swallowing. Robert just stood there, tears running down his face, and when I finally stopped, when my voice gave out and I collapsed on the couch, he sat down next to me and held me while I sobbed. Baby, he said, real quiet, you've been carrying this too long. That's when I realized I was dying. Not from old age. From swallowed anger. From a lifetime of rage with nowhere to go. My body was trying to kill me because I wouldn't let it fight. The stroke came 3 months later. Like I said, not a big one, but big enough to wake me up. Big enough to make me see what I'd been doing to myself. In the hospital, doing physical therapy, learning to use my right hand again, I finally started talking. Really talking. They had me seeing a therapist, a young black woman named Dr. Mitchell. First few sessions, I just sat there, smiling, saying I was fine. She looked at me with these knowing eyes and said, "Mrs. Williams, you don't have to be fine with me. You don't have to smile. You don't have to swallow nothing here." Chilly, I cried for 45 minutes straight. Ugly crying. Snot and tears and everything I'd been holding. Dr. Mitchell, she said something I'll never forget. Anger isn't the enemy. Unexpressed anger is. Rage that has nowhere to go turns inward. It becomes depression, anxiety, physical illness. Your body has been trying to tell you for years. It's time to let it out. So I started, slowly, carefully, learning how to express what I'd spent 60 years suppressing. I started with Robert, sat him down at the kitchen table, same table where I'd had my stroke, and I told him everything. Every moment of rage I'd swallowed, every time I'd smiled instead of screamed, every way I'd turned my anger on him instead of the people who deserved it. He listened, held my hand, and when I was done, he said, "I got some things I've been swallowing too." Then I called my daughter. Keisha's 47 now, successful, got her own family. I apologized to her for teaching her to swallow, for punishing her when she spoke up, for passing down the same poison that was killing me. She cried, told me she'd been in therapy for years dealing with that, learning to unpack what I'd taught her, learning to let herself feel angry without shame. "Mama," she said, "I forgive you. But you gotta forgive yourself too. You were trying to keep me safe. I understand that now. But we gotta break this cycle. For my kids. For all of us. So here's what my life looks like now at 75, learning to live with my anger instead of against it. I journal every morning. Just me and a notebook, writing out everything I feel. Sometimes it's rage about what happened yesterday. Sometimes it's rage about 1965. Don't matter. I write it down. Let it out on paper instead of letting it eat my insides. I go to a support group for Black women at my church. We call it the Healing Circle, but really it's a place where we can stop smiling, where we can be angry about racism and sexism and every microaggression and major aggression we face, where we can curse if we need to, where we can cry and scream and let 60, 70, 80 years of swallowed rage finally have somewhere to go. I speak up now. When something bothers me, I say so. Not mean, not aggressive, but honest. The other day at the grocery store, a white woman cut in front of me in line. The old me would have smiled and let it go. The new me said, clear and calm, "Excuse me, but I was here first." She tried to act like she didn't hear me. I said it again, louder. "I was here first." The cashier, a young Black girl who reminded me of Keisha, she smiled at me and said, "Yes, ma'am." This lady was next. I'm learning, slowly, that my anger is valid. That Black rage at injustice isn't something to be ashamed of. That the problem was never that I was angry. Lord knows I had reason to be angry. The problem was that I was taught my anger was dangerous, so I made it dangerous by turning it on myself. My blood pressure is better now. Not perfect. 60 years of damage don't heal overnight. But better. I'm off 2 of my medications. The migraines are less frequent. I'm sleeping better. But more than that, I feel lighter. Like I've been carrying 60 years of rocks in my chest, and I'm finally setting them down, one by one. Now let me tell you something, especially if you're young and Black and reading this. Your anger is not your enemy. The people who made you angry, they're the enemy. The systems that crush us, demean us, kill us, that's the enemy. Not your rage at those systems. We were taught to swallow our anger for survival. And maybe our grandparents and great-grandparents didn't have a choice. Maybe my mama and daddy were right to teach me to keep my head down in Birmingham in 1965. Maybe that's what kept me alive. But survival tactics have an expiration date. What kept you alive in one season will kill you in another. You don't have to swallow it no more. You hear me? You don't have to smile when you want to scream. You don't have to be twice as good and twice as quiet and twice as pleasant. You don't have to protect white feelings at the expense of your own health. I know what you're thinking, but I could lose my job. I could get hurt. I could make things worse. I'm saying, stop turning your righteous rage inward. Stop eating it. Stop swallowing it. Stop letting it rot in your chest. I look at my granddaughters, 16 and 14, and they got a fire in them I never had at their age. They speak up. They push back. They don't swallow nothing. And sometimes I worry for them. I do, because the world is still dangerous for black girls who won't stay quiet. But then I think about what swallowing did to me, what it did to my sister, what it did to my marriage, my body, my life. And I think, let them burn, let them rage, let them speak. Because that fire, expressed outward at injustice, is so much healthier than the fire I kept inside, burning me up from within. Here's what I wish somebody had told me at 20, at 30, at 40. You can be angry and professional. You can be angry and articulate. You can be angry and strategic. You don't have to choose between expressing your rage and surviving. You can do both. You can say, that's not acceptable, without smiling. You can walk away from disrespect without apologizing for leaving. You can stop making yourself smaller to make others comfortable. You can take up space. You can use your voice. You can let your anger fuel your activism, your art, your advocacy, your boundaries. What you can't do, what I'm begging you not to do, is swallow it for 60 years and wonder why you're sick. I wasted 6 decades teaching my body that my feelings didn't matter, teaching my daughter that her rage was dangerous, teaching myself that survival meant silence. I was wrong about all of it. Survival means taking care of yourself, all of yourself, including the angry parts. Especially the angry parts. I'm 75 years old. I had a stroke 3 months ago because I spent 60 years swallowing my anger. Because I smiled when I should have screamed. Because I turned my righteous rage inward instead of outward. I can't get those 60 years back. Can't undo the damage to my body, my relationships, my sense of self. Can't go back and tell that 15-year-old girl in Birmingham that her anger mattered. That she deserved to take up space. That swallowing poison to survive would eventually poison her anyway. But I can tell you, I'm telling you now, don't make my mistake. Don't swallow your anger for 60 years. Don't smile through your rage. Don't let survival tactics become slow suicide. Your anger is information. It's telling you something important. It's telling you that you deserve better. That we all deserve better. Listen to it. Honor it. Express it safely, strategically, but express it. Because unexpressed anger doesn't disappear. It just burrows deeper into your blood pressure, your sleep, your relationships, your body. And baby, your body is keeping score. If this resonates with you, if you've been swallowing your anger, if you've been taught that black rage is dangerous, if you're carrying decades of unexpressed fury, I need you to do something for me. Share this. Share it with every young black person you know, every woman who's been taught to smile through pain, every man who's been taught that anger makes you threatening, every person who's been swallowing for survival. And then find one safe place, just one, to let it out. A therapist, a journal, a trusted friend, a support group, somewhere you can stop performing and start healing. Leave a comment and tell me, what are you angry about? What have you been swallowing? You don't have to carry it alone no more. The choice is yours. But make it now, because 60 years go by faster than you think, and your body won't wait forever. I'm living proof that you can survive swallowing your anger, but I'm also living proof of what that survival costs. Don't pay the same price I did. May the ancestors guide you. May your anger fuel your freedom, not your destruction. May you learn what took me 75 years to understand. Your rage is righteous, your voice matters, and you don't have to swallow nothing no more. Now go. Speak. Rage. Heal. Live. And don't you dare smile through it.